Hi everyone, it's Linda from LyndaCreates, and I have a not so spooky, kind of close to my heart project here. I decided I'm going to try something different, but first off, let me say that every day when I walk my dog, I feed the crows and the ravens in my neighborhood, and have developed a friendship with the birds. Ravens in particular, they are very chatty and they're more intriguing than the crows. So I have been studying them and watching them and really working on being able to tell the difference between them because they hang out in a large flock. And here's a little tidbit of information. A flock of crows is called a murder, and maybe some of you knew that. But did you know a flock of ravens is called a conspiracy? Or it can also be called an unkindness. I thought that was fascinating, a murder conspiracy, because it's a mix. Anyway, so I decided because Halloween's coming up, and that I love ravens so much, that I would draw a raven. And I'm going to stitch this down, but I wanted to show my drawing first, just to let you know the difference, or some of the major differences in a raven and a crow. A raven has longer feathers or fluffier feathers around the neck. It also has a larger beak, a little hooked on the end. And then the tail feathers create more of an arrow shape. There's a longer in the center, whereas a crow would be more like a fan. So this is my raven, and I'm going to do an applique type project. Fabric, of course, and so let me show you what I've pulled to start this project. So the first thing I did was I scanned the drawing. I enlarged it and cleaned it up a little bit, but I printed it out. I did about 4 printouts at this time, all black and white, so that I can start cutting it apart. So this is going to be the main bird shape, and the feet are going to be stitched on, so I'll add that later. But this is the main bird shape, and I cut out 3 of them so that I can also cut these apart, because you can see the different areas that I have planned for different colors. So that's going to be my raven. Now the background, I wanted it fairly neutral. So I'm starting off with a damask napkin that I thrifted. So then I wanted neutral colors, because if my raven's going to be black, I wanted it to stand out. So I'm doing kind of a slow stitch background with neutral colors. And I have pulled some, and I'm going to clean these up, but these 2 pieces are upholstery fabric samples that I liked. This is silk, so I'm going to play with the piece of that, probably with this raw edge or a raw edge, adding some texture. This is some linen, so I have a nice piece of that, and then I have this that I bought as a remnant fabric. It had a lot of French bits to it, but I wanted the handwriting and a little bit of detailed kind of colors in there. So my raven, so that I'm going to shape this into a background, a slow stitched background, and then I'm going to applique the raven onto it. So I just wanted to show the beginning part of what the layout. And the other thing too is this napkin is very large. I wanted it to be much larger so that I can always trim it down if I want to. So I'm going to do it on my 11-inch square PVC frame. So I wanted the background to be large enough so that I can hold everything and then hold my raven in there as well. That's the beginning of it. I'm going to next cut several of the birds apart. I'm leaving one full size so I can do the background on that, and then cut the pieces out from the others. the additional shapes. But I have to decide on how I want the background to actually look, so I'm going to work on that first. I have the background laid out the way I want it, and you could see roughly the shape. So now what I'm taking is just some red thread, or different colored thread, and I'm going to baste down the background in place. So I'm just going to do some big loose stitches just to hold everything in place. No pretty stitches yet. So I'm just going to cut it here and just keep basting everything down, and I'll be back when I have it all held down. Now that I have the background basted down, I'm going to start working on collaging the bird together. So I pulled together a lot of my blacks and grays, some lighter shades of gray. I may need even lighter, I'm not sure. And then I wanted to add some purple in to add some highlights. And I even found some black lace to add to it. So I have this is the original bird, and I want to keep one intact so I have the shape. And then the others, what I'm going to do is like cut them apart. So, like the wing, okay, so the tail, the legs I have here. To me, what's most important is there's a name for this part of the crow. It's not the crop. I think what I'm going to do is write what these pieces are so I don't lose this. And I'm going to cut this into more shapes. So I'm going to start putting him together. Okay, I'm ready to start cutting out pieces right now. And let me start on the wing. So trying to think in terms of shade and shadow. The top of the wing will be a little bit lighter. Add a little purple detail. Darker. Oh, I have this black too. And then when I get to the bottom, so what I'm thinking is this area is going to be the lightest. Then here as a highlight, I'll do the purple. And then down here, shades of medium black. And then down here, do the like shades of darker black. Okay. So basically, I'm looking at light, medium, and dark for the wings. And if it doesn't separate enough, and then I'm saving the solid black for the parts of the body. And I may need even 2 shades of purple for the wing, because I'm going to add a little bit on the body as well. Okay, I'm going to just start cutting. So let me separate things. So the top is going to be this lightest gray. And here's another thing to note is that as you're working your way down, or in these layers, at least for this bird, is that the top layer, this edge will show, but the next layer down, it's not going to be as visible. So don't have to worry about it so much. Okay, so that was a light gray. Let's do the purple. So basically what I'm saying is, because that piece will overlap this edge, I don't have to be so careful about when I trim it out. I do have to keep it attached, though. Another thing I have to say is I haven't been posting recently because some of you may know I have my iCrafter business that I'm closing up. So I've been kind of busy doing that. So I gave myself a break and decided that I'm going to not push myself so hard to do both that and a video every week, but I really missed it. So I am back. I'm doing some videos. I really enjoy creating. You know what? Trying to keep track of everything so I don't lose too many pieces. Well, let me show you what the wing is looking like at the moment. So that is this part right here. So it's all in pieces now, but I'll reassemble it. So here is the original bird that I'm working with. You can see he's facing to the right. And I flipped the artwork and printed it backwards so he's facing to the left. Then I took a piece of Steam 2, put it up against the window so I could use it as the light box, and I traced it so now it's backwards. Does that make sense? So this is what I want the final bird to look like. This is how it looks traced backwards. And Steam is like double stick tape basically, but when you heat it, it adheres. So this is, I have to say, I thrifted this. So it's a very old package of Steam. I'm going to trim it a little bit closer so I don't have a whole bunch of Steam sticking about. So I need to flip this over. Okay, so I'm pulling the backing off. So I got that off, and I could see where I want the pieces to go. And I'm to start from the lowest area first. So I'm going to start with the tail. So I cut all the pieces out, but going back to the bird, in the correct direction, okay, I'm going to start laying these pieces on top so I could find everything. Okay, so that's roughly it. Need to fine tune it a little bit more, but that's basically it. Okay, again, I'm working from the lowest parts. So in this case, I'm going to work from the tail. And you could see, I hope, this, I can do it on this. This feather is hidden underneath this feather. So I want to start with this lowest piece. And this is also why I didn't really worry about cutting them out so accurately. And it's holding in place, which is beautiful. Okay, now this feather goes on top. Now the only one you have to worry about cutting more exactly is the last piece that goes on. So just kind of a side note. Let's put this leg on because that's going to be one of the furthest back pieces. Okay, so that's going behind the belly. This wing has to go on next. That's the front leg. Now there is, referring back, is this little piece. Oh, it's this little piece right here. So it goes, okay, so now you can see I don't have anything holding that. So I'm going to use a little Yoo-hoo glue, only because this is now sitting all on top of fabric rather than on any of the steamicine. Let's start on the next level of the wing. No, I need the belly first. So now I'm starting in on the wing. And what you do as you go is let the top piece kind of clean up those edges. But now you can't see where this one goes because it's covered by that. What I'm trying to do is also follow this outer edge. And okay, and the wing covers the purple neck. So that covers that part. Now, let's see, I need to do the beak first. So what I want to do though, cut a little bit away. So now this piece is a little tricky because I have two layers. I have this black and then I want to put a little bit of the lace on top of it. And again, I'm going to stitch over all of this so it should hold everything in place. And I'm ready to do it. I have to work the beak a little bit better, and has a little bit of a gray cheek. Well, that's the majority of my bird. I could do a little fine tuning, clean up some of the edges, but that's the majority of it, and I will be back when I get ready to do some stitching. And when I say clean up, like, see how this purple is? I'll show you. See how the purple is showing right here? I don't want that to be there, so I'll just clean that up and just kind of layer things so that it looks right. And I will be back. I've cleaned up my raven and adjusted a little bit. I added a little bit of highlight on this wing. And another thing I did, which is very, very subtle, is I added a little bit of lace behind this wing, underneath and behind this wing, just to add a little bit of a shadow, very soft. I added some here too, but it's harder to see. And then I cleaned up a lot of the miscellaneous little stray pieces. I'm going to stitch it all down so it'll hold in place better once I do that. But right now, I just have the raven laid out. I'm now going to trim out as cleanly as possible around the raven, and then I can attach it to the background piece. But I first have to cut it out. You can go throughout this whole piece and add some other colors, like this large area of light gray. You could add some different shades of gray. Just hand cut some little pieces that you want to fill in. I'm going to do a lot of the fill in or shading part using some stitching. And oh, I'm cutting the feet off too, by the way. So, but yeah, I'm going to use stitching to adds a lot of detail because this is an applique slow stitch project. And the thing about the steam seam is that it also is adhesive, has another backing to it. So once I do all this and take the back layer off, it'll become sticky again. So there is my raven all trimmed out. And let me bring in my backing. So there's the background that I started with. And there, you could see how he's going to sit on that. His feet will be down here. And just for visual, pull back. This is roughly how I envisioned it to be sitting. And now I can pull off the backing and stick him down, and you could see where the backing is. Now when you pull the backing off, you want to make sure the sticking steam seam stays attached to your art and doesn't come off with the backing paper. It generally, I don't know, it generally will stay, but it's just something to be a little more careful with as you pull it off. Okay. Now just to permanently adhere it, you would iron it down, but for right now I'm just pressing it. I think that's going to look really cool with a lot of neat stitching. I'm kind of readjusting the feet so that it's standing a little bit better on that dark piece of fabric, or the darker piece of fabric. Okay. I'm at a point now where the assembly part is done and it's a stitching part, and that will be part 2. I'm going to stop here and work on a little bit of the stitching in the background and be back next week and show you where I'm at on this. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did enjoy it, please hit the thumbs up for like and subscribe to my channel. There's so many more things I'm working on. And you could check out my website, LyndaCreates.com. That's Linda with a Y. And please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And again, in celebration of the beautiful ravens and kind of in a Halloween theme, I will just keep working on this. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!